Hi, this is Jeremy Katz for ogilvydo. I'm sitting here with Jeff Levick, who is the Chief Marketing and Revenue Officer of Spotify. He's just come off stage where he did an interview with Questlove of The Roots, talking about the way that brands and music have interacted now in a new way as a result of streaming services like Spotify, as well as multiple changes in the music industry. Thanks for taking some time after.
No, it's great to be here.
I'm thrilled. So could you tell us, how do you think the relationship between brands and music is changing?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously changing because the industry is changing. So, brands are changing with it. Traditionally, I think when brands thought about music, they thought about sponsorships. So there's, I'll put my brand next to this concert series, or I will take an artist and put them at the center of one campaign that I'm doing and have them sort of be the spokesperson for what I'm doing. And that's changing because consumers' relationship with music is changing. So what we find is that by opening up music, by having a platform for listening, is that we're watching music listeners are spending more and more of their day engaging with music. So to bet on one artist basically means that you're now limiting yourself into a small area of listening versus to understand how to put your brand around a music listening experience. Put you in front of, on average, at least we see, about 110 minutes of engagement time a day. So that's the real question for brands, is how do you weave yourself authentically into that experience?
That's a lot of music to be listened to in a course of a day. It's fortunately more than I have time to listen to. I wish I did, but that brings up an interesting question because Questlove said that he feels for musicians who are solely dependent on music. He mentioned 11 other revenue streams.
Yeah. Well, he's a busy guy, but yeah.
Clearly. So, how does a musician make a living if he can't depend on music?
Yeah, I mean, I think that musicians, at least, musicians of today and the ones going forward really have to think about themselves as brands as well. So, at the core, musicians are artists and they produce incredible work, but they're also, to consumers, they're brands, and they have the ability, there's expectations from that. So it's really thinking about the platforms and how to take full advantage of them. And, Questlove was a great example, is that, he uses social as a platform. He has almost 3 million followers on Twitter. He uses Instagram as a platform. He's got over 300,000 followers on that platform. And he's constantly looking at other forms of content that he can engage with this audience, and then leads to not just new revenue streams, but also creates this cycle of engagement that brings them back to his music. So you really have to think holistically about how to use the platforms to your best advantage.
So what can brands learn about consumers as a result of the brand's interaction with a streaming service like Spotify?
Sure.
You know much more about the consumer's listening habits than a brand would be able to find out on their own. So how does that impact the way a brand will understand their buyers?
I think it helps them more with understanding and authenticity. So the old way is that the best we could do is that we think, we like this genre, it's country, therefore we'll build a whole thing around country or rock and pop. And what we see is that music is different. People who love music don't just spend their entire day in one genre. They might bounce all the way around to do different things. So what's unique about platforms like Spotify is that we're just a platform for listening, and we let brands take all of the ability to connect their creativity with music and build really unique experiences around them. So if you're a shampoo brand, it's using audiences to help create the best playlist for listening in the shower or singing in the shower. If you're a car brand, it's using your fans or using the audience to curate the best songs for guilty pleasures for driving. If you're a brand like Reebok, they actually built an app on our platform that allows consumers to basically design the perfect playlist for exercise. So depending upon if you're running or jogging or biking, whether you're going for 10 minutes, 30 minutes, whether you're going high intensity or low intensity, then you press a button and out pops a playlist. So I think these are great examples of unique ways to leverage a new platform in an authentic way that brings utility and function to consumers.
So brands are adding value to the consumer's experience by essentially discovering new music for them, and Spotify is a vehicle through which that can happen.
And almost just making the experience of that brand even better. So, instead of saying buy my shampoo, it's sort of, why not just buy my shampoo and have a great experience while you're using it? Instead of saying, the car is a place to get you from point A to point B, we're going to help you have a great time by singing awesome songs while you're in our car. So it's really amplifying the power of music around the brand.
And are musicians themselves finding benefit from being exposed to brands through services, or is it going to be more of a one brand to consumer, musician to consumer focus?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, for what we're allowing is that, for musicians and artists, we're giving them the opportunity to be in a broader platform of listening. So to actually have their music listened to more often. A big part of what we also like to do is we are very interested in connecting artists with brands and doing it in authentic and unique ways. So to your question before about new revenue streams, we're very interested in helping artists not just increase the level of listening, but also participate with brands and do unique things with them.
Then just one final thing. Questlove said that he caught on the last car of the old model as it left the station, but he was supposed to be on the train that was coming behind. So if the train coming behind is not artists like Questlove, who seems so innovative, what incredible new things are we still to see? Can you surprise us with something?
I would love to tell you something that's coming, but there's a lot of stuff that's coming. I mean, this is an entire industry that is transforming itself and reforming itself. So, the cycles of innovation as well are just happening so quickly. Is that, 5 years ago, you couldn't stream a song legally without buying an MP3. Now there's, access to music on free platforms. We're actually giving music away for free. It's ad supported. We have services where you can actually pay a monthly rate and have the, 25 million tracks at your disposal wherever you are. So, and all that's happened just in the last few years. So I think that, we've got great ideas in terms of how to make the music listening experience even more by connecting technology, platforms, and music, by bringing all those things together, just making the experience itself perfect for music listeners.
Thank you very much for your time.
No, pleasure. Thanks for having me.
It was great to hear from you.
Thanks.
And this is ogilvydo, and we'll see you later today. Thanks.